Get started. Compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law. I wish to state that on January the 10th, 2020, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township bulletin board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made a part of the minutes of this meeting, and I would ask Alexander to come up and lead us in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stay there, Alexander. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Quiston?
Present.
Mr. Young?
Here.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Here.
All members are present.
So tonight, we get to honor you, Alexander, for obtaining the Eagle Scout. And it's always a great honor for this Township Committee to honor those that have attained the Eagle Scout rank. It's not something easy. It takes a lot of dedication, and a lot of folks ultimately go on to a lot of leadership positions because of it. So I'd like to read the resolution that we're passing, or we have passed, with your name on it, and recognize you for your Eagle Scout project and what you've accomplished. So Alexander Brown of Troop 55, Tuckahoe, New Jersey, has recently achieved the designation of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America. Township of Butler wishes to acknowledge the outstanding accomplishment of this remarkable young man and extends its sincere congratulations to Alexander on the occasion of his receiving the designation of Eagle Scout, and commends him for this outstanding accomplishment and the completion of his Eagle Scout project, which consisted of constructing an outdoor classroom and performing reforestation at the Cumberland Rifleman Club in Millville. The club certifies and decertifies police officers, FBI agents, and all other law enforcement personnel. Alexander cleared an area to construct the outdoor classroom, built 2 large picnic tables for use by instructors for teaching and displaying gun safety, and cleared and planted trees in an area that had been destroyed by fire. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Committee extends its sincere congratulations and best wishes to Alexander's parents, family, and friends on this happy occasion, and be it further resolved that the Township Committee also extends its congratulations and appreciation to the Scoutmasters and others who give so freely and generously of their time for the benefit of our youth. So, we'd like you to come up. We'll present you with this. Round of applause for Alexander. Congratulations. Here is your resolution, which will become a permanent record of the Township archives. And do you have anything to say tonight?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, I have one. We're not looking at Congratulations. That is spectacular.
Thank you again.
It really is. Thank you so much for all that you do. All the Boy Scouts, all their projects really benefit the township and our area greatly. So I will certainly welcome you to stay. I know you have your family here, but I also know it's a school night, and you're certainly welcome to go.
You can fix
that. We do wish you good wishes as you move forward, and hope you have great success in the future.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, so would someone like to approve the minutes for December 16th, both the regular and closed session minutes?
Motion to approve? Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Quiston?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor?
All right. I did let them know they can leave. I'm sure they were sitting there.
Waiting for somebody to make it.
All right, don't go all at once.
So,
Have a great evening.
so long. Take care.
They're sitting there looking. Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and committee members. Just a couple things this evening. Just a reminder to all of our residents of the upcoming observance of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday on January 20th, 2020. All of our municipal offices will be closed on Monday, January 20th. And they will reopen on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020 with all municipal services. With respect to trash and recycling collection, there will be no collection on Monday, the 20th of January, but those services will resume on the 21st. I do have a request with respect to our emergency management services. Annually, as you know, the New Jersey Emergency Preparedness Association has their annual conference in Atlantic City. This year, the venue's been changed to Harris, at which time we do a lot of our training for all of our deputies, which is a requirement, myself and my deputies, which is a requirement to obtain our annual fiscal year EMAA funding. It's one of the requirements, one of many. So this year, I'd like permission to attend along with my 3 deputies. The cost is normally at the door is $205, but we usually take advantage of what they call their early bird, which as long as we have the monies in by, or the registration in by February 29th, 2020, it's only $125 per person.
Are all 3 deputies going to be able to attend physically?
Yes. Yes, they are. By that date, yes. Just requesting permission. The amount, I don't think requires committee's approval necessarily, but of course the amount of time. This is a 1-week period of time that this conference is held. Usually the first 3 days are the days when classes are attended by most of those who register. There's a possibility, depending upon the class duration of any of the classes selected, that it could go 3 days, which would be a requirement of committee to approve.
Okay, so,
Motion?
yeah, please.
Motion to approve the OEM training. Second.
And that's for all 4?
Yes.
The
Yes.
director and deputies.
Mr.
Call the
Barr?
roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Goggins?
Yes.
Mr. Person?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palmer?
Yes.
And the last thing I have for you is part of our fiscal year 2019 emergency management assistance funding is now being processed. Myself and Barb work on that on an annual basis. This is actually the award package for fiscal year 19. We usually run a year behind. I'm just requesting permission or approval from committee to start the paperwork process. And this will require a resolution to be approved at our next meeting. Again, annually, committee usually approves this or has approved it in the past, and there's a few documents that have to be signed to forward this EMAA award package process.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you need a motion for that?
Please.
Someone like to make a motion for that?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Goggins?
Yes.
Mr. Person?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palmer?
Yes.
Motion's
And that
carried.
is all I have.
Okay. Barbara, do you have anything?
Nothing this evening, sir. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Daniel.
Nothing at this time, but we do have a number of items for closed session.
Paul.
Thank you. A couple items. First, I just wanted to update the committee on the progress of the reconstruction of Commonwealth Avenue over in Strathmere. I did send this committee some pictures of the curb and sidewalk work that's kind of progress to date. They should be completed that work this week. They'll be grading the road next week and then paving Commonwealth Avenue and then also Bayview Drive, putting the final coat of paving on both those streets the week after. So, we've been very fortunate we've had the mild weather, so they've been able to get all this concrete work done, and we don't anticipate any weather in the future holding us up to complete those jobs shortly. The bulkhead jobs, the contractor has completed his contract administrative work, and they've ordered the bulkhead sheets, so we anticipate having the bulkheads material on site mid-February. So I'd anticipate late February, early March that we'll be able to get those 2 bulkheads done in Strathmere. Also wanted to update the committee on...
Excuse me, Paul, will that be the end of our requirement to get us up to the 12-foot?
That'll get us up to 8 foot for both, that's for Putnam Avenue and Sumner Avenue, and I believe at that point, all of our bulkheads will be up to the proper requirement. Yes. Next, I just wanted to update the committee on the planning board has kind of come up with their draft of the ordinance revisions for Strathmere. As you recall, last year the Township Committee asked the planning board to relook at those, and the subcommittee came up with new ordinance revisions, and it's on the agenda for this month's planning board to review the draft, and then we would hope to anticipate, if that moves smoothly, that we would look at adopting or making a recommendation of those ordinances with the master plan re-examination in February. Both that ordinance revision and our public access plan draft has been on the website since December 10th in order to give the public ample time to review the documentation. I know that was one of the concerns that the residents had the last time, was that this was just rushed through and didn't have a lot of time for the public to review the documents. Well, they've had, we did have it, we had anticipated having a meeting in December, but we had unfortunately had to cancel that December meeting. But so the public has had since the early part of December to review those documents, and hopefully if there are any other concerns, the public will come out and let us know at the planning board meeting this week.
Who takes care of the Strathmere Improvement Association site?
I've also they are aware of the changes, and they have the copy of the ordinances on their website.
They posted it?
They posted it as well as it is on our township website also. But
It's also posted that there is the meeting this coming Thursday.
And they sent out an email notice over the weekend of the planning board meeting, so it's been well advertised of what's going on.
To clarify the process a little bit, the planning board is reviewing it, the ordinances that would be part of the recommendations in the master plan re-examination, and once the master plan re-examination is approved with those recommendations, assuming they might change them because they're drafts or whatever, once that is done, then it will be sent to the Township Committee. The Township Committee will then review the proposals and the recommendations, and then, if you feel it's appropriate, introduce ordinances. So it's going to be a while.
Correct. I just wanted at least the committee to be aware of where the process stands and what public
Yeah, I think the main concern is making sure the information's out there, so.
Yes.
Right. And hopefully, if they have concerns, we'll go to the planning board first, so we don't have to go back and forth.
Correct. We also had it at our Coastal Coalition meeting in December. We had an update from the Army Corps of Engineers on the Back Bay study. As you're aware, the Army Corps is looking at making improvements to the back bays of New Jersey. They looked at all the back bays from Sandy Hook all the way down to the Delaware Bay, similar to how they kind of evaluated the beachfronts for the beach fills. They're looking at, armoring and protecting the back bays. If you recall, last spring, they came out with a draft study of a lot of different alternatives, and I reported to the committee on some of the alternatives that would affect our township. The lead engineer gave a preliminary report of some of the, I'll say, their preferred alternatives, because now the next step is for the Army Corps to come out with their list of preferred alternatives for the different sections and reaches within the different counties, and that will be coming out later this month. So hopefully I'll be able to report to committee at the last meeting in January, or possibly the first in February, of what some of the preferred alternatives will be. And then later through March and April, the Army Corps will be going and having several public hearings on what those preferred alternatives are. And once they have consensus on those preferred alternatives, then it goes through the preliminary engineering stage of selecting that final design and doing the engineering for that design for those projects. And I'll keep the committee posted on that, but that's going to have a significant impact on, how development would occur and, what projects they would do to help protect the back bays from flooding.
Okay.
That's all I had this evening.
Barbara?
I have nothing this evening.
Committeeman Coggins?
I'd like to talk about the schedule for our budget workshops. Tentatively, what I would propose to do would be to schedule a budget workshop for our meeting on 1/27 at 6 o'clock. At that time, we'll go through the public works component of the budget. We will also talk about EMS and lifeguards. If we have time left following that, we'll cover some of the smaller departments. On the 10th at 6 o'clock p.m., we will schedule our second budget workshop, and the bulk of that time will be spent discussing proposed salary changes and what the effect of the salary is year over year, salary versus head count. We'll also discuss any of the other departments that we have not had a chance to roll into the prior meeting. On February 24th, the workshop will be scheduled for 6:30 p.m. That will allow for any final questions and review of any revisions, and hopefully by the 9th of March, we can introduce the budget. Now, I've spoken with Mrs. Ludi, and she's indicated that she can have a first draft of the budget out to us by Monday of next week. Since it's a holiday, I'm going to assume that's going to roll to Tuesday.
Hopefully sooner, but if I need the long weekend, I'll have the long weekend to get it out to you.
Okay. Any questions, comments, jokes?
Nope, sounds like a good plan.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Committeeman Young?
The only thing I really have is our Challenger hockey team made it into the medal rounds again this year in the Special Olympics in Stockton, and they wound up taking third place this year. So, very proud of the kids, and I'd like to, once again bring them in, even though they didn't win the gold. For the Challenger program, I think it's great when we bring them in here and honor them and make a big deal of it. So we need a resolution to bring that in right there. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt a resolution to bring them forward.
Second.
You okay?
No, I got to... Go ahead.
Is that your motion, Rob?
Yeah.
Mr. Barr? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
And, the other thing I had was, I had a couple phone calls today with the hauling the sludge
Jeez, I think that's...
and the intersection of Tuckahoe Road and Route 50, when they come into that merge. I guess there was quite a bit of mud and sludge on the roadway, and somebody did send down a sweeper truck. But I think it's something we should keep track of.
I had to talk to one of their lead inspectors last week, and actually it was a little fortuitous. I probably shouldn't have made the call, but earlier in last week I kind of had called the inspector to say how well the project had been going, because they've been working for about a month and a half, and the roads have been pretty good. But last week there were 2 days that the hauling went pretty bad. A lot of that, I think, hinged around the real cold weather that we had, and I tried to explain to the inspector what I believe were the causes and the issues. He did let me know that out at the disposal site, they did not have the truck. They have a wash down truck they can wash down the tailgates with. They did, because of the freezing weather, they did not have that truck operating, and so they could not really hose down and clean out the tailgates after they had emptied to make sure that the seals got a proper seal, and that's when we saw really 2 days of
This all occurred this morning sometime.
It's just a continuation, but
Yeah, as long as they're on top of it,
well, I don't know if they're on top of it. I did not go to Tuckahoe today, so I didn't see that. So I'll send an email to their full team as well as some of the Ocean City officials I've been corresponding with, just to remind them of some of their requirements.
Is the state police aware of it too? Some complaints?
I don't know.
Title 39 offense, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have, Rich.
Committeeman Young, I just wanted, for the rest of the committee, I neglected to report that this morning, the light at Caldwell Park that had been discussed, the brightness of the light, it's been readjusted. So
Okay,
it's
good.
adjusted down.
That's good. And the only other thing I didn't have, I will not be at the next meeting or the workshop for budget. So, on the 27th.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Barr.
So we know where we can take the extra money.
Public Works gets all his money.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we're doing pretty good with the pickup. Any update on that?
As far as leaf
Yeah,
the
leaf
leaf
go.
collection. The 8th was the final phase 2 of leaf collection. They started just this past week, last week with the third go-around, which will be the final go-around. I know they're working from south to north and Beasley's Point south, so they're going to merge in the middle. Probably over the next 2 to 3 weeks, they should have everything finished up.
I think they're actually on Summers Avenue today, headed north.
Yeah, the north,
Are
yeah.
they picking up the Christmas trees too? Is it
Yes.
going along?
That's a separate truck, yes.
And bulk trash, we've been doing pretty good with that.
That as well, yes.
All right, good. That's all.
Committeeman Corson.
Thank you. I just have one thing here. Saturday the 25th and Saturday, February 22nd, from 1 to 3, we will have our Upper Township free rabies clinics at Shore Veterinary and Hospital. And dog licenses will be available for purchase, so you can kill 2 birds with one stone.
Okay. I have nothing this evening, so let's continue with the resolutions.
Number 2, supporting the Cape May County Board of Chosen Freeholders recertification application to the United States Coast Guard for the designation of Cape May County as a Coast Guard community.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Item number 3, urging the New Jersey Department of Transportation to expedite the installation of centerline pavement, no passing markings along New Jersey State Highway Route 49 within milepost 49.84 to 53.80 in the Township of Upper in the County of Cape May.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. 4, affirming the Township of Upper civil rights policy with respect to all officials, appointees, employees, prospective employees, volunteers, independent contractors, and members of the public that come into contact with municipal employees, officials, and volunteers.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 5, authorizing a 1-year extension of the contract with Danziger and Markov for actuarial services.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. 6, authorizing the building and electrical permit fee refunds to Vinvent Solar for various properties in Upper Township.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. 7, authorizing the building and electrical permit fee refund to Solar City Corporation, DBA Tesla Energy for 8 Bay Air Road in Upper Township.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. 8, appointing Scott Fancher as a part-time employee to the Upper Township Division of Emergency Medical Services.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. 9, authorizing the additional payment for a New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection CAFRA individual permit to authorize construction at Beasley's Point Park from the 2018 capital improvement bond ordinance.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer.
Yes.
10, the 2020 temporary budget, debt service.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer.
Yes.
Motion is carried. 11, authorizing execution of an NJDEP TWA1 application statements of consent form regarding 1823 Route 9 South in Upper Township at Block 567, Lot 24.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 12, refund EMS ambulance billing overpayment to WPS TRICARE.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion is carried. 13, appointing William Stumpfig as the second alternate Upper Township representative to the Great Egg Harbor National Scenic and Recreational River Council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
14, reserve budget transfers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 15, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1, 2020, and ordinance revising job classifications and personnel classifications and titles and amending Chapter 5 entitled Personnel of the Code of Upper Township. And we'll have the public hearing on this on February 10th.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Item number 16, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 2, 2020, and ordinance amending ordinance number 21, 2019, known as the salary ordinance for the calendar year 2020. And we'll have the public hearing for this one also on February 10th.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 17, under new business, John Mayberry requests to purchase township-owned land at Block 306, Lot 6.
Before you act on this, just to give a little background, this is a series of the number of different requests that are going to come in this area. This is the first one. It actually was before you previously, but because the title, I think, wasn't resolved as to Mr. Mayberry's lot, and this had to be, this request had to be dealt with first. It was delayed and tabled. Essentially, I talked to Paul. The property's in the PV zone, Highlands Village, and it's less than an acre, the size required for a single-family home. Obviously, if we would entertain this request to purchase the land, it would be required to be merged with the adjoining parcels into one parcel that can't be further subdivided. It will require an auction among adjacent property owners.
And currently, the property is also landlocked. There's no
Right.
access to a street. There is another township property that's adjacent to, that has access to a street. But this lot, as it sits today, is landlocked,
Except for maybe a point in space.
except for point and space.
Yeah.
And there is
What will probably happen is that the lot 5 that's adjacent to this, there'll be a request to purchase that by the owners contiguous to that across the road. And then once that is completed, they'll ask for it to vacate the street.
Right, so it'll all be merged at that point, with the vacation.
It's a one-way street that ends at this property.
Yeah.
It's unimproved
You're right.
in this area.
Yeah, it goes nowhere, so,
It goes to each side, yes.
yeah. So we need a motion to approve this?
Motion to bring it back with an ordinance for introduction, if you agree with their request.
So moved, with Dan said.
Does anybody have any questions? Is that okay?
No, you have no problems with this?
We have no public purpose for this property.
Okay.
Okay. I have a
I'll
first.
second.
Second. Okay, Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Thank you. There's a piece of it.
Moving right along, would someone like to take a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move, lost my place. I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
All right. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
There are a number of reports from the municipal departments: Animal Control, Clerk's Office, Construction Code, Department of Public Works, Division of EMS, Finance Office, Municipal Court, Tax Collector. All these reports will be available upon request of the Clerk's Office tomorrow morning, but I'll make a motion to accept the reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
So at this time, we'll open it up to the public. If anyone in the public would like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do so. Please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and your reason for addressing the Township Committee. Let the record reflect that there is no public comment this evening, so I'll close the public comment portion and turn to Mr. Coggins. Before I do that, I would like to say go Tigers, except for that probably won't work because they're both Tigers, so good luck with the Clemson Tigers. I know that you're a big fan and your family went to Clemson, so good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Should be a very good game.
Would you like to make the motion to go into executive session?
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are litigation, Upper Township versus Painter, and for tax appeals. Contract negotiations for Block 382, Lot 11.01, for Qualified Transportation Reimbursement Account, for Employee Assistance Program, for Phoenix Advisors, for the Conflict Public Defender, and for the Conflict Municipal Prosecutor, and also for personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second, would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
I guess I should say thank you all for attending, but
Other than those who've been compelled.